Hello, dreamers and book lovers. Welcome back to Bookish Reshuffle, the place where stories spark wonder and imagination never grows old. I'm She, and today, we're venturing into something truly magical, modern fairy tales for grown-ups. These aren't the bedtime stories you remember, they're deeper, darker, more romantic, and they ask questions fairy tales never did. What if the witch was misunderstood? What if the beast didn't need saving? What if happily ever after was something you had to fight for? In this episode, I'm bringing you 25 spellbinding fairy tale retellings that redefine fantasy for adult readers. They're lush, emotional, romantic, and sometimes a little dangerous. If you love dark fantasy books, fairy tale retellings, feminist fantasy, or romantasy series for adults, this is your perfect listen. Fairy tales have always been with us, stories told by candlelight to make sense of fear, love, and fate. But today's retellings do something new. They turn those simple fables into modern fantasy novels full of emotion and complexity. They ask, what happens after the curse is broken? What happens when the princess doesn't want saving? That's why retellings resonate, because they mix the familiar with the unpredictable. They take something ancient and make it feel utterly new. So let's open the book, turn the first page, and dive into the worlds where happily ever after isn't guaranteed, but it's worth the fight. 1. The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. Step into the snow-covered forests of medieval Russia, where folklore walks beside the living. Vasya, a wild-hearted girl who can see spirits others deny, must protect her village when ancient forces awaken. This story blends beauty and darkness, frost demons, forgotten gods, and a girl defying the world that fears her. Arden's prose feels like a fairy tale whispered by firelight, lyrical, haunting, and deeply human. It's one of the most enchanting fairy tale retellings for adult readers, perfect for winter nights and warm blankets. 2. Uprooted by Naomi Novik. Inspired by Polish and Slavic folklore, Uprooted tells the story of Agnieszka, a simple village girl chosen by a powerful wizard known as the Dragon. At first, she thinks she's been taken prisoner, but she soon discovers her own wild magic might be stronger than his. The relationship between Agnieszka and the dragon grows from irritation to trust to something much deeper. It's a story about finding power where others see weakness, and about love that reshapes both magic and fear. A must-read for fans of dark romantic fantasy with rich world-building and slow-burn chemistry. 3. Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik. Novik takes the Rumpelstiltskin legend and spins it into something dazzlingly original. Miriam, a money-lender's daughter, turns silver into gold and catches the attention of a cold, inhuman king. But this is more than a tale of magic. It's about family, identity, and the cost of ambition. The story weaves together multiple heroines, each strong in her own way, navigating a frozen world of bargains and power. Elegant, intelligent, and empowering, Spinning Silver stands among the best feminist fairy tale retellings for adults. 4. For the Wolf by Hannah Witten. The first daughter is for the throne. The second is for the wolf. When Red is sacrificed to the monster in the Wilderwood, she expects to die, but finds a man burdened with a curse instead. Together, they face an ancient evil that feeds on fear, faith, and blood. Witten's writing is lush and atmospheric, filled with candlelight, forests, and aching tension. It's a gothic romantasy masterpiece, perfect for readers who love beauty and the beast with a touch of danger and heart. 5. Malice by Heather Walter. Forget everything you know about Sleeping Beauty. This time, the villain tells her story. Alice, a dark sorceress despised by her kingdom, discovers love in the most unexpected place. With a princess she's doomed to curse, their relationship blooms in secret, fragile and forbidden, as the world plots against them both. Walter blends queerness, darkness, and moral complexity into a story that feels bold and new. It's a breathtaking queer fantasy retelling that proves villains deserve their own happily ever after too. 6. A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. This book reimagines beauty and the beast in a dangerous, seductive fae world. Fair, a mortal huntress, kills the wrong creature and is taken beyond the wall by mysterious Fire Lord. What begins as captivity unfolds into a journey of courage, desire, and transformation. Sarah J. Maas storytelling is lush and emotional, balancing sensuality with rich world-building. It's perfect for readers craving romantasy with passion, power, and unforgettable characters. 7. Heartless by Maris Meyer. Before she was the Queen of Hearts, Kath was just a girl who wanted to bake pies and fall in love. This tragic origin story takes us deep into Wonderland before the madness began. As dreams clash with destiny, every choice pushes Kath closer to her infamous fate. Meyer's prose sparkles with whimsy and heartbreak, painting a portrait of innocence lost. It's a bittersweet, character-driven fantasy about love, ambition, and the cost of becoming a villain. 8. The Shadow Queen by C.J. Redvine. A fierce, fast-paced retelling of Snow White filled with magic, assassins, and dragons. Princess Lorelei fights to reclaim her kingdom from an evil queen who wields dark sorcery. Along the way, she teams up with a dragon-shifter prince whose loyalty is as dangerous as his fire. Redvine blends action, romance, and heart into a page-turning epic of redemption. It's perfect for fantasy readers who love powerful women and mythic adventure. 9. The Bloody Chamber by Angela Carter. A literary collection that revolutionized how we see fairy tales. Carter's heroines are not damsels, they're curious, brave, and unapologetically human. Each story, from Bluebeard to Little Red Riding Hood, is retold with sensuality and gothic tension. It's provocative, poetic, and packed with symbolism that challenges patriarchy and desire alike. If you want mature, feminist dark fantasy, this classic is absolutely essential. 10. The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axior. This Korean-inspired fantasy follows a young woman who sacrifices herself to save her family, plunging into a mythic underwater realm. She awakens in a world ruled by sea gods, haunted spirits, and ancient curses. The love story blooms gently amid breathtaking imagery of coral palaces and eternal storms. Axior's writing feels like a dream, lush, lyrical, and deeply emotional. It's ideal for fans of East Asian mythology, fantasy romance, and Studio Ghibli-style wonder. 11. Queen of Snow by Laura Barron and Jessie Call. This Snow White retelling trades glass slippers for politics and betrayal. The heroine isn't waiting to be rescued, she's strategizing to survive. With complex court dynamics, vivid winter settings, and a love story that simmers through distrust, it's as cinematic as it is emotional. Each chapter deepens the tension between light and shadow, duty and desire. It's fantasy romance for readers who crave cunning heroines and mature stakes. 12. House of Salt and Sorrows by Erin A. Craig. A gothic reimagining of the 12 dancing princesses, set on a haunted island by the sea. Analogous sisters keep dying mysteriously, and the truth is wrapped in curses and ghosts. The story mixes mystery, romance, and horror with lavish seaside imagery. Craig's prose drips with atmosphere, salt air, candlelight, and madness. It's one of the most chillingly romantic fairy tale retellings you'll ever read. 13. The Wolf and the Woodsman by Ava Reid. Blending Hungarian folklore and religious mythology, this novel feels ancient yet fiercely modern. It follows Evike, a pagan girl chosen as a human sacrifice, who teams up with a warrior prince to survive. Their journey is full of violence, longing, and political intrigue that cuts deep. Reid's language is poetic, her world gritty and believable. It's dark literary fantasy for readers who like stories with teeth and heart. 14. A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kema. A Beauty and the Beast retelling that pulls a modern girl with cerebral palsy into a cursed kingdom. Harper is fierce, pragmatic, and refuses to play the victim. Her chemistry with Prince Ren feels authentic, awkward, and moving. Kema crafts a tale that balances emotional realism with high fantasy adventure. It's a heartfelt romantasy that proves strength comes in many forms. 15. The Book of Goathail by Mary McMine. Who was Mother Goathail before she locked Rapunzel in a tower? McMine answers that question with historical detail and emotional precision. Set in medieval Germany, it explores magic, motherhood, and moral ambiguity. Gothel isn't a villain here. She's a woman trying to control her fate in a world that denies her power. It's historical fantasy retold with empathy and mythic depth. 16. Thornhedge by T. Kingfisher. A quiet inversion of Sleeping Beauty told with compassion and wit. The so-called monster guarding the tower turns out to be a hero in disguise. Kingfisher's prose is gentle yet sharp, exploring themes of kindness, guilt, and redemption. It's part fairy tale, part fable, and entirely unforgettable. A perfect short fantasy read for those who prefer empathy over spectacle. 17. Gilded by Maurice Meyer. A dark, gothic spin on Rumpelstiltskin full of curses and tragic bargains. Serilda, a gifted storyteller, lies her way into the king's favor and discovers her words have deadly power. Meyer weaves a complex love story between magic and mortality. The castle scenes shimmer with dread and beauty, balancing fear with desire. It's an intense, emotional retelling for fans of cursed romance and dark magic. 18. A Spindle Splintered by Alex E. Harrow. This clever, modern take on Sleeping Beauty merges multiverse fantasy with feminist fire. Zinnia, a terminally ill woman obsessed with fairy tales, finds herself thrown into countless versions of the story. Each world challenges the idea of damsels, destiny, and who really needs rescuing. Harrow's humor and heart keep it from ever feeling heavy. It's short, sharp, and empowering, fairy tales rewritten for the TikTok generation. 19. The Foxglove King by Hannah Witten. Necromancy, forbidden love, and royal politics collide in this gothic epic. Lore has the power to channel death itself, a secret that could destroy her or save the kingdom. Witten's prose is darkly poetic, full of moral grayness and sensual tension. Every chapter feels cinematic, haunting ballrooms, candlelit altars, whispered betrayals. It's adult romantasy at its most atmospheric and ambitious. 20. The Witch's Heart by Genevieve Gornichek. A retelling of Norse myth through the eyes of Angarboda, Loki's lover and mother of monsters. This story reclaims forgotten female power within a world of gods and destruction. It's intimate, mythic, and devastatingly human. Gornichek writes with quiet beauty, weaving love, loss, and resilience together. For readers who adore mythology-based emotional fantasy, this is essential. 21. A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. Nesta's journey from rage to redemption is raw and unforgettable. Set against the backdrop of 5 wars and secret magic, this book explores trauma, healing, and desire. The romance between Nesta and Cassian burns slow but fierce, filled with both conflict and tenderness. Maas deepens her world and dares to write women who are messy and real. It's mature, passionate romantasy that hits hard and heals deeper. 22. Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. A whimsical yet tragic fairy tale set in the Caraval universe. Evangeline Fox makes a dangerous bargain with the charming fate of hearts, and nothing goes as planned. It's full of illusions, glitter, heartbreak, and impossible love. Garber's world feels like stepping into a jeweled snow globe full of danger, an irresistible pick for romantic fantasy lovers who crave whimsy and heartbreak. 23. The Stolen Heir by Holly Black. Return to the world of Elfheim, where beauty hides cruelty and love feels like a trap. Surain, a changeling queen, and Oak, a Fae prince, embark on a treacherous quest of loyalty and revenge. Black's writing is sharp, intoxicating, and full of tension. The politics are as ruthless as the romance is slow burn and aching. A must-read for fans of dark Fae fantasy with emotional depth. 24. Belladonna by Adeline Grace. A gothic fantasy where a young woman can communicate with death and maybe love him. Part murder mystery, part romance. It balances airy elegance with emotional yearning. Grace's world is full of decadent mansions, whispers, and slow-burn chemistry. Death himself becomes one of fantasy's most unforgettable love interests. It's hauntingly beautiful romantic fantasy for fans of mystery and myth. 25. Kingdom of the Wicked by Kerry Maniscalco. Set in 19th century Italy, this story follows Emilia, a witch who summons a demon prince to find her sister's killer. Wrath. The demon is dangerous, magnetic, and utterly impossible to resist. Maniscalco's world blends mystery, magic, and seduction in perfect balance. Every scene simmers with tension between love and vengeance, faith and desire. It's one of the most addictive dark fairy tale fantasies to close out our list with fire and allure. Fairy tales have always been mirrors, showing us our fears, hopes, and deepest desires. These modern retellings don't just reflect us, they reinvent us. They give women power, villains humanity, and magic new meaning. They remind us that every myth can be rewritten, and every ending can be our own. And that brings us to the end of Modern Fairy Tales for Grown-Ups, 25 spellbinding retellings you need to read. If you found your next favorite book today, tap like, hit subscribe, and share this episode with your fellow fantasy lovers. And I'd love to hear from you. Which retelling is your all-time favorite? And what story do you want to imagine next? Until next time, keep reading, keep dreaming, and remember, even in the darkest woods,